Now on Coast TV News.
Budget battle continues. The latest on Capitol Hill as lawmakers return and Democrats protest an upcoming budget reconciliation bill. Extra security will show you all of the safety measures in place for this year's Cruisin Ocean City event. Monument placement debate talks in Georgetown to move a fallen patrolman's memorial out of the circle, but why the family is not totally on board.
A chilly start to the week for Delmarva. 40s and 50s out the door, even some upper 30s. Bundle up. Otherwise, a milder afternoon with sunshine, and we're looking at a drier week ahead with small rain chances. Details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off, and thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. And speaking about the weekend, Bob, we had some gorgeous weather, minus some of those storms Saturday evening, but this morning it's a lot cooler out when I was walking to my car.
Good morning, Elisa. Good morning, Delmarva. Indeed, a very chilly start. And yeah, we had those storms Saturday evening. That gave us a good power washing courtesy of Mother Nature. But otherwise, a good looking weekend. And look at these temperatures out the door. 38 in Harrington and Redden, almost bordering on frost there. 40 in Salisbury, Willards, Delmar, 40 in Laurel, Millsboro now 41 degrees. A little milder at the beach, 50 Rehoboth, 48 Bethany Beach, and 51 in Ocean City. So bundle up out the door. At least the winds are calm or very, very light as we have high pressure building in this morning. We have lots of clear skies all across the area, and we have high pressure just to our west. So that will ensure wall-to-wall sunshine today. It will be a beautiful day. As you can see, the clear skies extend all the way back to the west. So a chilly start, warming through the 40s, 50s, and 60s this morning. Lots of sunshine. Have your sunscreen handy. Close to 70 by noon. Away from the coast as we go into the noon hour, 50s and 60s at the beaches, but then low to maybe mid-70s inland. And then at the coast, we're looking at 50s and 60s and pretty mild as we go farther to the west into the evening hours. Day part forecast. We're splashed with sunshine today. A beautiful day with temperatures in the 70s. Even warmer weather as we go through the week ahead with just little to slight rain chances. I'll talk about that in my full forecast a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. And we are now taking a live look at the White House this morning. And our top story this half hour, tensions are high on Capitol Hill as lawmakers prepare to return for a 2-week recession today. On Sunday, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Cory Booker hosted dozens of supporters at Capitol Hill, sitting on the steps in protest of Republicans' upcoming budget reconciliation bill. They, along with fellow Democratic leaders, faith leaders, and dozens of rank-and-file supporters, sat in the sunshine for over 9 hours speaking about the upcoming budget fight. And all of that as President Trump is back in the U.S. after Pope Francis's funeral over the weekend. Tuesday marks 100 days in office for the president. Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Rome, and NBC's Bianca Ficini shows us the latest as deportations and court rulings continue to dominate the headlines.
President Trump back stateside after the funeral for Pope Francis in Italy over the weekend. Trump had a behind-the-scenes meeting in Rome with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky that both described as positive.
We want to continue such meetings to bring peace to Ukraine.
In photos released by the Ukrainian government, the two are seen talking closely, as well as speaking with other leaders from the UK and France. It's a noted change from their last in-person meeting at the White House in February, which ended with Trump calling Zelensky ungrateful. The president will hit the road again Tuesday, hosting a rally in Macomb, Michigan, while deportations and court rulings continue to dominate the headlines. Meanwhile, Tuesday marks 100 days in office for Trump, whose approval rating is sinking. An NBC News Stay Tuned poll shows 55% of Americans disapprove of the way he's handling the White House. He's being hit especially hard on his economic policy, with 61% disapproving of his tariff plan.
It's all coming down. It's all looking good. The tariffs are strong.
The numbers come as stock market turmoil and recession fears plague anxious consumers, already wary of inflation. In Washington, Bianca Ficini, NBC News.
President Trump is expected to mention easing inflation during his rally in Michigan on Tuesday, though the latest consumer price index shows it remains virtually unchanged from the start of the year. And this just in, on Thursday, Ocean City will be holding its 35th annual Cruisin Ocean City event. And with thousands of fancy cars and even more people making their way to the town, a special event zone will be in place. This will be from April 29th to May 4th. And all speed limits in the town will be 30 miles an hour or lower. And you can see more cops than usual. And if you do end up getting pulled over, those fines will be bigger. Ashley Miller, the Deputy Communications Manager for the Ocean City Police Department, says these rules have made a difference.
We still see the violations, but we are not seeing them to the same magnitude that we were back in 2020.
Whether you agree with the changes or not, the rules will be enforced, so keep your foot off the pedal or you might be a lot lighter in the wallet. And happening today, an upgrade to the Food Bank of Delaware in Milford. The organization will introduce a new food digester. The new equipment can remove up to 500 pounds of food waste from a landfill each day. The food digester uses natural process to break down food waste. And according to the Food Bank of Delaware, since being installed, the food bank has redirected almost 6,000 pounds of food from a landfill. And things to know, more emergency services in Sussex County. Today, Millsboro will hold a grand opening for the Sussex County Emergency Medical Services Station 103. The new location sits on Dickerson Road, and officials say that ceremony will be followed by a lunch. People can attend that event today at 11 a.m. In Milford, city officials are considering an ordinance that would allow workers to stay home. The ordinance says that during emergency conditions, non-essential and essential workers can work from home. This includes events such as severe weather. This potential change comes after officials say the city's code is outdated. This ordinance will be discussed at tonight's council meeting at 6 p.m. In Georgetown, the idea of potentially moving fallen patrolman Chad Spicer's memorial to another location could be discussed today. At a town meeting, the memorial still hasn't been replaced since it was hit by a car back in 2023. Georgetown Mayor Bill West says there are no official plans to move the monument, but there are talks about constructing at Memorial Park at the new police station. However, Chad Spicer's family say they want that memorial to remain at the circle. Spicer was shot and killed in 2009 while trying to stop a car involved in a separate shooting.
That was a very tragic night, very tragic, and it was so horrible. And I don't want people to forget his legacy on what he was trying to do.
While the memorial move is not on the agenda, neighbors are expected to speak out during the public comment period at the council meeting tonight at 6:45 p.m. And on your screen now are fire companies honoring Thomas Berry III over the weekend. Berry was a volunteer firefighter for the Georgetown Fire Company, also the Ellendale Fire Company, and he died when a utility pole snapped, bringing down electrical wires while he was trying to help a driver who had crashed. The Ellendale Fire Company dedicated Engine 2 to Berry, and there is a bench in honor of him as well. And we still have a lot more news to get to this morning on CoastTV News Today. Coming up, Canal Canvas will show you the updates you can expect from the waterways today in South Bethany. And SpringFest success will tell you how business owners and employees are reacting to the turnout from this year's SpringFest in Ocean City. And Milford, major water infrastructure, will tell you locals decided in terms of a referendum to borrow over $8 million. All that and more as CoastTV News Today continues.
5:10 on this very chilly Monday morning. Bay Health Cam in Dover, 48 degrees there, but it is much colder in places like Harrington and Redden. 38 almost bordering on frosty there, and lots of lower 40s. Salisbury up to Gumboro, 41 Millsboro, Milton 42. We've got some 50s from Lewis to Indian River Inlet right now. Winds are calm. It's clear. We've got high pressure building in. Make sure you bundle up out the door. I wore my puffy jacket this morning. It is that chilly out there, so we're looking at clear skies and high pressure building in. That means we're looking at wall-to-wall sunshine as we go through the day. Here's your drivecast this morning. Dry and chilly. I gave it the green light out the door, but leave extra time to warm up the car. It is cool out there. Then for your PM commute, looking great. Blue skies. I gave it the green light between 4 and 6 p.m. with sunny and mild conditions.
Bob, voters in Milford have approved a major water infrastructure proposal in the city's referendum. The plan allows the city to borrow up to $8.5 million for water system improvements in the Northwest service area. Unofficial results posted by the city show 135 votes in favor and only 21 against. Today, the City Board of Elections will certify the results and submit them to the state. And happening today in Lewis, 2 items are up for consideration at a public hearing. According to the agenda, officials will discuss a request regarding piping at the carriage house at Cape Henlopen. Also on the agenda, a proposed ordinance that would control the height of grass and other plants in people's yards. These issues are up for consideration tonight at 5:30 at the Margaret H. Rollins Center. And also happening today, Bridgeville officials will gather to discuss the town's budget for fiscal year 2026. This is according to the agenda and also up for discussion, an update on a draft comprehensive plan. This takes place tonight at 5 p.m. at the Bridgeville Library. And happening today, Salisbury will host a budget workshop for locals to learn more about the fiscal year 2026. According to officials, there will be a discussion on the budget as well as an overview of the fee schedule. This is set to take place today at 5:30 at the Government Office Building. And a federal judge on Friday blocked the Trump administration's attempts to strip the most important power of union. District Court Judge Paul Friedman issued a preliminary injunction against an executive order to strip collective bargaining rights from federal workers whose jobs include national security aspects. Collective bargaining is what gives labor unions the authority to negotiate working conditions for its members, and without it, unions are almost entirely powerless. And fans of Joann's stores will be disappointed to learn nearly 1/3 of the fabric and craft retailers' locations will close this week, and the remaining stores will shut down next month. The company filed for bankruptcy last January. It was the second Joann's bankruptcy filing in 11 months. That chain began going out of business of sales, and those sales will end at the 255th location around the country, closing this week. The more than 500 remaining stores will shut down next month.
It is a cold start to our work week. Some places in the upper 30s, 40 in Salisbury. Spicer Brothers Camp showing dry conditions, good visibility. It's a chilly start, and then it will be a milder afternoon with temperatures in the 70s with wall-to-wall sunshine, and then warmer for the rest of the week. Some rain possible later in the week. Nothing too significant at this point. I'll have your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 5:16, and we are taking a live look outside at Salisbury this morning. Bob, it's a chilly Monday morning, kind of good. It wakes you up right when you walk out the door. So I guess that's a perk to being a little cooler, but you said have no fear. It is going to be a beautiful Monday.
Absolutely, Elisa. And that is the upside. You walk outside, it's like, ooh, it's chilly out here, almost frosty in some places, bordering on frosty temperatures. We'll take a look at those in just a second. But our storyline is, yes, it's a chilly start to our Monday, but a sensational Monday on the way. Wall-to-wall sunshine. Temperatures warming into the mid-70s. The air is very dry, so it starts out chilly, but then that dry air warms very quickly. And then midweek, we're looking at upper 70s and lower 80s. More clouds at that time, and some shower chances increasing as we go through the week, but nothing significant. But look at these temperatures: 39 Bridgeville, 38 Redden, 37 in Harrington, almost cold enough for frost there, with 39 in Willards, 40 in Salisbury. It just cooled off to 40 in Dagsboro, 41 in Millsboro. So it is chilly out there this morning. Bundle up. And then 40s and 50s at the coast, 54 Indian River Inlet, 51 in Ocean City. And thankfully, the winds are light. We don't want to be talking about wind chill, and we're not. It's calm under high pressure with clear skies, but it is cold out there, but good visibility out the door and beautiful weather up and down the East Coast as we have high pressure building in from the Great Lakes, and that will ensure lots of sunshine today. The only really bad weather is across the northern plains. They're expecting severe weather. You can see some of these big storms across the Dakotas. That could be spreading into the upper Midwest, but aside from that, things are pretty quiet. Here's Futurecast this morning. Cold 40s out the door early on. By 9 a.m., we're looking at upper 50s from Salisbury to Millsboro, around 60 in Rehoboth, and then by noon, maybe have lunch outside. Upper 60s inland with 50s and 60s at the coast. By mid-afternoon, pretty nice. 73 Seaford down to Salisbury, Millsboro around 72, but then cooler at the coast. Don't know about upper 50s, but I'm thinking at least lower 60s there. And then by this evening, we are cooling off to the 50s and 60s. 50s by midnight with clear skies. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, chilly, but not as cold as this morning. We're looking at mid to upper 40s away from the coast, around 50 in Allendale, 47 Millsboro, and then 50s at the beaches. And then we're looking at a milder Tuesday afternoon. By noon, mid 70s, and then we're flirting with 80 degrees into the afternoon hours as the winds turn out of the south. And then as we go into Tuesday night and early Wednesday, we increase the clouds. There's a chance we could see a few showers with a weak disturbance very early Wednesday morning. Otherwise, Wednesday is looking like a mild day. By mid-morning, we're already into the 70s away from the beaches, and then by mid-afternoon, lower 80s. 82 around Salisbury, 80 in Millsboro, 80 in Berlin. Very nice. A little cooler, 60s and 70s at the coast, but a taste of summer moving into your Wednesday. Today, we're going to see a bit of a sea breeze and onshore wind, so that's going to keep you cooler at the coast. And then the winds start to swing around to the south and southwest heading into Tuesday, and they get stronger into the afternoon. Pretty gusty, over 25 miles per hour, and that southwesterly flow will really warm us up into the midweek time period with sunshine, blue skies, maybe that slight chance of a shower Wednesday morning. It definitely feels like summer with temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, mid-70s today. Another chilly start tomorrow morning at 47, but then it starts to warm up in the mornings after that. 79 Tuesday, 82 on Wednesday, mid-70s Thursday. A chance of showers Friday, but then back into the mid and lower 80s. And then Saturday, a few showers, 75 degrees to start the weekend, but it looks like a nice Sunday, mostly sunny, just like this past Sunday, and a high of 69. Congratulations to Kevin Brochette from Millsboro on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Thank you, Bob. Ocean City's annual Spring Fest has now come and gone. The event brought thousands of people along the coast, and with that came big revenue for vendors. Also with the crowd came little to no parking spaces, but fully booked hotel rooms. All this which led to more revenue for the city.
We have a bar and grill that made complete great revenue. I mean, they were so busy over there. So we've been really booked.
And if you miss one of Ocean City's big events, don't worry, because on Thursday, May 1st, there will be the start of Cruising in Ocean City. And Springfest wasn't all positive and especially artsy. That's one of the businesses Kevin Zappé interviewed. On your screen now is a picture of a woman that Ocean City police say stole a piece of art yesterday. If you recognize this person, Ocean City police are asking you to contact authorities immediately. And more to come this morning on CoastTV News Today. Canals Canvas will tell you what officials in South Bethany are expected to discuss as conditions in those waterways take center stage. Don't go anywhere. Leaders in Fenwick Island voted to increase paid parking rates by $1. Starting on May 15th, the hourly rate will be $4 an hour. That extra revenue would go towards street maintenance and paying for a new parking officer. Homeowners and tourists have mixed opinions about this incoming price hike.
I think it's a very, very modest raise that I am certainly, as a homeowner, I'm in favor of it.
It's, it really would be nice to not have to pay to park when you go to pay for a meal or you're paying to go shopping.
And Fenwick Island's paid parking season begins on May 15th. And things to know, water quality center stage in South Bethany. Today, officials will gather to discuss conditions on its canals. According to the agenda, there will be an update on cleaning, algae harvesting, and grant funding, and possible new water treatment options. All this takes place today at Town Hall at 10 a.m. And Bob, today, people looking to go to the beach, you might want to bring just a light jacket because he said it could be a little windy, but you're saying it's going to be gorgeous. So.
I would think it's going to be a gorgeous day at the beach, Elisa. Definitely need that jacket. We're going to see a sea breeze into the afternoon. That water is still chilly. We're looking at Ocean City and Fenwick Island starting out chilly in the upper 40s, but then warming into the 60s, mid-60s, lots of sunshine. Fenwick Island, lower 60s in Ocean City. Waves only about 1 to 2 feet, so a pretty smooth ferry ride up to Cape May from Lewis, with temperatures in the upper 60s there later on with wall-to-wall sunshine, beautiful, and mid-60s in Rehoboth. UV index is moderate. Make sure you have your higher SPF sunscreen. 1 foot waves on the bay side and 50 to start the day in Cambridge, but then you're warming to 70 later this afternoon in sunshine in Crisfield. Temperatures into the upper 60s. Even warmer as we go through the week ahead with slight rain chances. I'll detail those coming up in my forecast coming up in the next half hour.
After the break on CoastTV News Today, DelDOT project progress. We'll tell you what DelDOT says is the focus of multiple projects, including work at the 5 Points intersection in Lewis. And extra security is in place for this year's Cruisin Ocean City event. And federal budget backlash will tell you how lawmakers are gearing up to push back on a proposed budget as leaders return for a recess this morning. CoastTV News Today will be right back.
Now on CoastTV News.
Budget battle continues. The latest on Capitol Hill as lawmakers return and Democrats protest an upcoming budget reconciliation bill. Extra security will show you all of the safety measures in place for this year's Cruisin Ocean City event. Monument placement debate talks in Georgetown to move a fallen patrolman's memorial out of the circle, but why the family is not totally on board.
A chilly start to the week for Delmarva. 40s and 50s out the door, even some upper 30s. Bundle up. Otherwise, a milder afternoon with sunshine, and we're looking at a drier week ahead with small rain chances. Details coming up.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. It is 5:29 on this Monday morning. And First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey is going to join us. You might be wondering what to wear this morning. Bob, it is cooler out, but you're predicting pretty gorgeous temperatures later today.
Yes, good morning, Elisa. Good morning, Delmarva. Big temperature swing coming up today. And I had to break out my puffy jacket this morning because it is that cold out there. 37 in Harrington, 38 in Redden, almost cold enough for frost, but not quite. 39 in Willards, 40 Salisbury, Millsboro 41, Dagsboro 40 degrees. So we've got a big chill. Inland areas and a little warmer at the beaches, 53 in Lewis, 55 Indian River, Inland Ocean City at 51. Thankfully, we're not talking wind chill. Mainly calm winds, just a little bit of a breeze, but not going to cause any problems as far as wind chills. We're looking at clear, calm, and cold conditions with great visibility, good traveling weather all across the area as high pressure is building into the region. You can see the clear skies all across the mid-Atlantic and back to the west. So we're looking at wall-to-wall sunshine for your Monday with a big warm-up on the way as well. Here is Futurecast warming through the 40s this morning, and then we start to take the chill out of the air by mid-morning. 50s to around 60 in Long Neck, 60 in Rehoboth. By the noon hours, we're into the upper 60s from Millsboro to Seaford and Ellendale, but cooler at the beaches. I think we're going to see a sea breeze developing in the afternoon. So 50s and 60s here, while inland we're looking at low to mid 70s and a pleasant Monday evening on the way. And it's back to school for everybody now. I know Sussex County was off last week, but kiddos hit the books. Back to school for you in Delaware. 40 off to school. We have a chilly start, so make sure the kiddos are bundled up. And then heading home, they can carry that jacket. Lots of sunshine, dry and warmer, around 72 degrees.
Bob, in our top story this half hour, tensions are high on Capitol Hill as lawmakers prepare to return for a 2-week recess today. On Sunday, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Cory Booker hosted dozens of supporters at the Capitol Hill, sitting on steps in protest of Republicans' upcoming budget reconciliation bill. They, along with fellow Democratic leaders, faith leaders, and dozens of rank-and-file supporters, sat in the sunshine for over 9 hours speaking about the upcoming budget fight. And on Thursday, Ocean City will be holding their 35th annual Cruisin Ocean City event with thousands of fancy cars and even more people making their way to the town. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Zapay shows us that this means lower speed limits and increased fines.
Revving engines and fancy cars, a staple of Cruisin Ocean City, which draws people from all over the country to this coastal town. But as Ashley Miller, the Deputy Communications Manager for the Ocean City Police Department explains, some people have a hard time playing by the rules.
You were seeing cars doing burnouts in the intersections and just stopping traffic and gathering the large crowds.
That's why back in 2018, the town started lowering speed limits for this type of event. And in 2020, they started increasing fines and even threatening arrests for reckless driving, depending on the offense. Miller says it's made a difference.
We still see the violations, but we are not seeing them to the same magnitude that we were back in 2020.
So what can you expect from this year's Special Zone event? From April 29th to May 4th, all speed limits in Ocean City will be 30 miles an hour or lower. You'll see more cops than usual, and if you do end up getting pulled over, the fines will be bigger. Local Stephen Powell thinks these rules are too strict.
I'm okay with lowering the speed limit, but to 35 from 40, not 30. It's too slow. and I think the fines are already too high. They should be reduced.
Whether you agree with the changes or not, the rules will be enforced, so keep your foot off the pedal or you might be a lot lighter in the wallet. Speeding tickets aren't the only thing increasing during the Cruisin Ocean City event. Parking prices are going up too. They'll be increasing by an extra $1.50 during the event, so be sure to bring a little extra cash before parking. I'm Kevin Zapay in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
Happening today, Delmarva will once again gather to share updates on their plans to improve intersections and highways in Sussex County. This includes work on the 5 Points project in Lewis. The project looks to improve the flow of traffic with lights, make the roads more accessible for bikers and pedestrians, and consider the possibility of roundabouts with other tweaks. One person we spoke with says he stays far away from busy intersections.
Live back on Robinsonville and Cedar Grove, and to get back there, sometimes the lights are very long, so I get down and go in through Lowe's that way. So I try to, basically avoid that area.
Delmarva tells Coast TV there is no set timeline for any of these projects. People can attend tonight's public meeting at 6 p.m. at Cape Henlopen High School. In Georgetown, the idea of potentially moving fallen patrolman Chad Spicer's memorial to another location could be discussed today. This at the town council meeting. The memorial still hasn't been replaced since it was hit by a car in 2023. Georgetown Mayor Bill West says there are no official plans yet to move the monument, but there are talks about constructing a memorial at the new police station. However, Chad Spicer's family say they want that monument to remain at the circle. Spicer was shot and killed in 2009 while trying to stop a car involved in a separate shooting. While that memorial move is not on the agenda, neighbors are expected to speak out during the public comment period at that council meeting at 6:45 p.m. And on your screen now are fire companies honoring Thomas Berry III over the weekend. Berry was a volunteer firefighter for the Georgetown Fire Company and the Ellendale Fire Company. He died when a utility pole snapped, bringing down electrical wires while he was helping a driver who had crashed. The Ellendale Fire Company dedicated Engine 2 to Berry, and there's also a bench to honor him. In Milford, an upgrade for the Food Bank of Delaware is happening today. The organization will introduce a new food digester. The new equipment can remove up to 500 pounds of food waste from a landfill each day. The food digester uses a natural process to break down food waste. And according to the Food Bank of Delaware, since being installed, the food bank has redirected almost 6,000 pounds of food from a landfill. And things to know, more emergency services in Sussex County. Today, Millsboro will hold a grand opening for the Sussex County Medical Services Station 103. The new station sits on Dickerson Road, and officials say that ceremony will be followed by a lunch. People can attend that event today at 11 a.m. And new overnight, one person is dead and 6 are injured after a shooting at a historically black university on North Carolina coast Sunday. Elizabeth City State University says the person who died was a 24-year-old man who's not a student, but it says 3 of the gunshot victims attend the school, along with 2 others hurt in that commotion. The school says none of the injuries are life-threatening, and it says that shooting took place at the center of campus early in the morning.
I had left right before all of this had transpired, but I had heard the gunshots from my dorm. And then I had got a phone call saying that some people had got shot.
We're a family. It's a small school, small HBCU, so everybody knows everybody. It's a small family, so just make sure your family's okay.
And the university said it had just finished a multi-day celebration involving both alumni and students called Viking Fest. And we have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, Militia Deal Dilemma will tell you which steps the town needs to complete first before it can go through a proposed land purchase. An ID deadline approaching will tell you what you need to know before a national initiative takes place. And we'll tell you what you could be decided at a future of one of those vacant buildings in Lewis. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
It is 5:39 on this clear and very chilly Monday morning. Bay Health, Kim, and Dover, you're 48, but it's much colder down the road from you. 38 Harrington, 42 in Milford, 37 in Redden, and now in the upper 30s in Delmar and Gumboro and Longneck, 38 degrees elsewhere in the lower 40s. So bordering on frosty cold, but not quite, and 40s and 50s at the beaches. We have calm winds and clear skies as high pressure is building in. So we're looking at a lot of clear skies skies this morning and wall-to-wall sunshine for today. A beautiful start to the week with high pressure across the Great Lakes building in, ensuring a beautiful day, and a nice ferry ride up to Cape May as well. Light winds, pretty flat water too, so a pretty smooth ride with lots of sunshine. Temperatures warming through the 40s and 50s, then eventually lower 60s by later this morning. And call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone, another way to get your forecast. Sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico.
To demolish or to renovate, that is the debate about the Army Reserve building on Savannah Road in Lewis right now. And today, officials will present an update on the issue. The vacant building will be for the City of Lewis, the Board of Public Works, and the police. Lewis committed to buying that building back in 2022 with the idea of having more space for the city and BPW's growing staff. Some locals are ready for a fresh start.
Well, I would rather see it demolished and something more familiar with the territory. Historic Lewis, maybe a little more pleasant looking. What's there right now really doesn't say much.
And the BPW says they are creating a subcommittee with the city to further discuss the future of that building. The project will be funded by the city and the BPW. Today's meeting takes place at 1 p.m. And the deadline to get your real ID is quickly approaching. Starting May 7th, we'll all need one to fly domestically. The Delaware Department of Transportation and the Division of Motor Vehicles is urging people to check their real ID status. For those who do not make that May 7th deadline, a passport or global entry will still get you on board a flight, and you can still get a real ID after May 7th at the DMV. And Rehoboth Beach is starting its annual spring bulk pickup service today. During this time, residential property owners may disregard huge furniture, certain appliances, e-waste, and other large bulky items free of charge. In 2025, spring bulk cleanup is scheduled for today through May 2nd on the south side of the city and May 5th through 9th on the north side. City crews will pick up items daily throughout the work week in those designated areas. And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 5:30, Indian River hosts Pandua Academy and girls soccer. Then at 10:30, it's the final score. And for your other DSN exclusives, along with that game of the night at 4 p.m., it's a lacrosse double feature. That is Worcester Prep and Salisbury School girls and Worcester Prep and Sussex Academy boys. Then at 5:30, Cesar Rodney faces Queen Anne's and boys lacrosse, and Cape Henlopen is at home with North Carolina in girls lacrosse. And today in entertainment news, a clue about the final film in a possible trilogy and a way to go inside your favorite movies. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
You know, the little amortization book and the green eye shade and the like dorky pocket protector and...
I have a pocket protector.
That's a nice one.
Anna Kendrick's Dana and Ben Affleck's Chris connected, eventually, in 2016's The Accountant. But Kendrick and her character did not return for the recent sequel. However, director Gavin O'Connor says he's long planned an accountant trilogy. And he tells the New York Times he's been texting with Kendrick, and she said she's 100% in if we want.
Here's the band. Good evening again. This is Mark and the Starlighters, and we're going to make this a night to remember. So let's get started!
Universal Fan Fest nights at Universal Studios Hollywood lets fans immerse themselves in their favorite films and franchises. Opening night brought Back to the Future co-writer Bob Gale back to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
It's amazing, and it's just amazing to see the people reacting the way that they are. They're having the best time. It's the closest anybody can get to actually being in the movie.
In Hill Valley, just north of Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Clear skies this morning, almost cold enough for frost. 40 in Laurel right now and a beautiful day, but bundle up, warm up the car. It's chilly out the door, and after a cold start in the 40s and 50s and even some 30s, we're looking at a milder 70-degree reading this afternoon, at least 70 degrees with lots of sunshine. Warmer week ahead, a little bit of rain possible. I'll have your full forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
taking a live look outside at Dover today. Bob, we had a little bit of rain on Saturday. That's good to ease the allergies. But then you told me today we're probably going to have some high pollen levels. So that's music to my ears. That's great.
I know you're joking, Elisa, but yeah, we're all suffering from allergy problems. It was nice we got the rain Saturday night. I got a lot of the pollen off the car, nice little power washing from Mother Nature. But I'm afraid the tree pollen, it's still back. It's still pretty high. Oak, ash, birch, maple, all those tree pollen levels are high. So if you're suffering from allergies, definitely seek filtered air inside. That's probably the best bet as we go through the day. Temperatures out the door are cold. Upper 30s in Harrington, Bridgeville, 37 in Red, 38 in Long Neck right now with 40 in Millsboro, 39 in Delmarva and Willard. So we're almost close to getting frost, not quite. Usually 36 degrees is a level where we start seeing it on metal objects, wood and stuff like that. So close, but no cigar, as they say. 40 in Salisbury, 40 Dagsboro, 55 Indian River Inlet, 55 in Lewis. As the winds for the most part are calm, as high pressure is settling in, so we're looking at clear skies right now, a cold start, but it's going to be a gorgeous day as we're looking at clear skies all across the Mid-Atlantic region with high pressure building in from the Great Lakes. That will ensure wall-to-wall sunshine for us today. The only really rough weather is across the northern high plains. They're looking at severe weather across the Dakotas into Minnesota and maybe Wisconsin. Maybe tornadoes later today for them, but that system's not going to affect us. But that's just where the active weather is today. Here's Futurecast this morning. We're cold. We're in the 30s, and then 6:30, we're slowly warming through the 40s. By mid-morning, 58 Salisbury, 57 Millsboro, 57 in Georgetown. And 50s at the beaches too, but you're going to have a slow climb here because we're going to see a sea breeze, keeping your temperatures cooler. By noon, 61 Bethany Beach, 65 in Rehoboth, but inland 68 Millsboro and Seaford and Salisbury, 69. Then we're warming into the low 70s from Salisbury to Millsboro and Georgetown. But I think we're going to see an onshore flow at the coast, so that keeps you in the 50s and 60s here, around 69 in Lewis. Then as we go into this evening, clear skies with the winds starting to turn in out of the south a little bit. We're not going to be as cold through the overnight hours. By midnight, we're in the 50s. It's still chilly. By tomorrow morning, we're into the upper 40s, but not nearly as chilly as this morning with low 50s at the beaches. And then a nice warm up into Tuesday, upper 70s, close to 80 degrees as those winds really ramp up, especially along the coast, getting gusty there as we're seeing temperatures pretty mild. And then into tomorrow night, temperatures in the 60s, winds getting strong, clouds increasing, and we could see some showers as we go into very early Wednesday morning. Does not look like it's going to affect our morning commute too much. And then a big warm up, mid-70s in the morning hours, and then by the afternoon, lower 80s from Milton to Selbyville and Delmarva and Salisbury, but cooler at the beaches with temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and pretty quiet as we go into Wednesday evening. We're going to see that sea breeze developing as we go into this afternoon, so that will keep you cooler at the coast, and then that sea breeze gets up to about 113, and then it kind of conks out, and then we'll see that southerly breeze kicking in tonight, and then tomorrow here comes a southwest breeze, and that will warm us up. It does get pretty breezy into Tuesday night. Then that southwest breeze continues into Wednesday as we have high pressure offshore in the middle part of the week, a cold front back to the west, so right in between we have this warm flow that's going to warm us into the 70s and 80s, almost like a summer-like feel. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, mid-70s today, and then upper 40s tonight, near 80 on Tuesday, mostly sunny, 79, maybe a morning shower Wednesday, otherwise partly cloudy, 82, back to the mid-70s on Thursday, then a few more showers by Friday, 83, and some of those showers linger into Saturday with mid-70s, turning a little cooler, 40s at night into the weekend, and a high of 69 and mostly sunny on Sunday.
Thank you, Bob. Milton town officials are considering buying several lots downtown. Before this, they will need to follow a due diligence process in order to make that purchase. Tonight, Milton officials will get an update on this for the 6 lots they're looking to buy. The cost of that land is $1.65 million. Right now, a survey to gap mapping and soil testing are underway. One idea for that area is a 26,000 square foot building, which would include a new police station, a dedicated meeting space for the town, and a workspace for council members.
It's a building to meet the needs of the people that operate the town on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, they should have a significant amount of input on the configuration of it.
And the final presentation, which includes the site plan and soil analysis, will be presented tonight at 6:30. And the time is now 5:51, so we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And today's coastal pet of the day is ready to hit the dance floor. On your screen right now is Benny. As you can see, he is dressed up and ready to take a lucky lady to prom. This dapper dog was submitted to us by Tammy and Seaford. And of course, we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen, scan the QR code at the top of your screen, and submit your furry friend to CoastTV News. Then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all of the pets we feature. New research involving more than 240,000 people has found that more ultra-processed foods you eat, your risk of premature death for many causes rises. Ultra-processed foods are considered to have little to no whole food and are chemically manipulated, often contain synthetic additives. This finding is notable, and in part because it's been estimated that nearly 70% of all food in grocery stores in the U.S. is ultra-processed. And the Food and Drug Administration is still negotiating on whether to grant full approval to Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine. A source says the agency has discussed with the company the need for an additional trial as a commitment. The Novavax had anticipated full approval of its vaccine by April 1st, but a source says the FDA has delayed a decision because it wants more data. In a statement, Novavax says it believes its application is approvable. And the National Institute of Health has some new acting directors following mass layoffs at the agency. The NIH announced 6 officials will be temporarily leading the agency. They will oversee infectious diseases, children's health, nursing, and minority health research. The new appointments come weeks after the agency fired several institute directors or placed them on administrative leave. Several other officials have retired or quit in recent weeks. And the time is now 5:56. We're going to take another look at your forecast before you head out the door. And Bob, before you head out the door, grab a heavier jacket this morning.
Big time, yeah. We're looking at some upper 30s out there in some places, inland areas, Elisa. So pretty cold out there, bordering on frosty, but not quite. Elsewhere, we're looking at 40s and 50s at the beaches. So a very chilly start. Make sure you bundle up. I know a lot of kids, well, they're going back to school in Sussex County today, so make sure they have the heavier jacket. And then warming up, light winds today, lots of sunshine, looking gorgeous out there. Inland areas warming into the mid-70s, around 74, away from the coast, but at the beaches into the 60s for highs. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. One more pretty chilly morning into tomorrow morning, 47, and then near 80 on Tuesday, mostly sunny skies. Then we're into the low 80s on Wednesday, maybe a morning shower, cooling back into the mid-70s Thursday. Warm 80s again Friday with a rain chance there lingering into Saturday. Mid-70s Saturday, cooling down by Sunday. Looks like we're in the 40s again by the weekend, but then looking pretty nice as we start next week with temperatures in the low to mid-70s, dry conditions and overnight lows into the 50s.
Coming up at 6 on CoastTV News today, budget pushback progress. Tensions boil over as lawmakers return for recess with a GOP-backed budget bill is on the table.